Hello, everyone, and welcome back. That was Ellicott City, Maryland. It's a beautiful, beautiful little town. My middle daughter, who recently moved to North Carolina, used to live just west of there. Officially, they were Ellicott City, but this is like the historic area, and it's only like at one street. Don't blink, you might miss it. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. Multiple streams, rivers come together. They had and survived a horrific flood. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, look it up. Flood, Ellicott City, Maryland, and you will see what happened then. It was like the perfect storm. Everything was just at the right moment. And there were people eating in restaurants where they are. Basically, you have to come in, go up the stairs, and you dine on the upper floor. And they saw cars being washed down the street. It is a very steep street. And then once it crosses the main river, which was not the culprit, it was all the streams leading to that. It's done. No more beautiful town. You're now in the middle of a regular city area. And so I love going there. Go there to eat, go there to shop, go there to just hang out. It's just absolutely scrumptious. Yes. And I need to go back. It's been quite a while. Ever since my daughter moved, we haven't been back. So it's time to go back there. But anyway, let's say hello to everyone who is here with us today. I am going to go and I'm going to do something a little bit before we get to the very end because I always forget to do this. I'm going to set up the next video, but I'm going to lower my speaker so you don't hear it. And then we'll proceed. So let me set that up. Wrong one. I have about 10 slideshows right now. So I need to make some more, though. I really do. And that's going to happen sometime. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. Let me set this up. I don't know what the heck happened. My desktop got completely discombobulated. I have folders where there shouldn't be any. Let me turn this off. See, remember, I used to be able to do this directly. No more. So I need to do this manually from now on because otherwise, it just simply will not allow me to do that. And for some reason, I cannot transfer my... That is odd. Give me 1 second, guys. There's always something going on that makes everything all... There we go. I got it. It didn't want to slide over to the other monitor for some weird reason. Okay. I'll take care of the... wow, how did this happen? Everything is... All the icons are in different positions. I don't know. Anyway, welcome again. We'll say hello to everyone. We got 19 on board. We have a busy day ahead. I'm going to be attempting to do some things. I wasn't really well prepared last week, but hopefully this week I am, and I'm going to go ahead and do something in QImage. We're going to do a 12 by 12. Ooh, I cross my fingers that comes out. Sublimation on the heat press. And the reason I say that is because 12 by 12 is really like 11 by 14. It's like about the max you can get away with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up and actually press down harder than I normally have it set for, because I want to make sure that there is even pressure all the way around that 12 by 12 surface so that you get a clean sublimation transfer. Otherwise, you're going to get areas that are not in contact as well, and you get kind of a cloudiness, a partial transfer, and that'll be a trashed result. You cannot, you cannot fix that once it occurs. So hopefully that'll come out okay. But anyway, oh, and also I'm going to show you, we're going to be using, because everybody loves to do this. This is the 6.25 by 9-inch pre-scored greeting card material from Red River. I just decided to do this. I just uploaded a video on how to make a document, basically a file in Photoshop that has pre-located and sized cells that you can just drop images to, and allow you to print album pages and that sort of thing, and completely adjustable. You can just move those cells around, change the proportions, the size, anything you want. And we're going to be doing a greeting card on the 8550 because I know everybody is interested in doing that. I got some really good comeback on this video that I just recently uploaded this week from the past. I'm still working on that. We're getting there. I checked this morning. We have to, this is, YouTube changes the rules constantly. So it used to be 400 watch hours per year. In other words, per calendar year. So it was a moving calendar. So for the last 365 days, you had to have 400 total watch hours. So now it's 4,000 watch hours. And it used to be 10,000 subscribers. Well, now it's only 1,000 subscribers. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're changing things. And so we are at just over 1,200 watch hours, which, had it been for the earlier requirements, 3 times what I would need, right? I needed 400, now I have 1,200, and I need to reach 4,000. So, and we're at about almost 400 subscribers. So if you haven't done so, please subscribe, and please continue watching every single day my videos. If you can only do it at night, just put them on a play one after the other and watch them. I just need to accumulate those hours to be able to then qualify for getting remonetized, which is the only way this can survive. That's why I'm digging back in my back room for supplies that I already have on hand so that I can continue to do this for our community every Sunday. And if I'm going to be doing something requiring any new materials, I got to buy it. And unless they give it to me, I got to dig it out of my own wallet. And so that does not work. Also, you guys notice that there's no super chat. Okay, well, I have to reach, I believe, 1,000. I've reached that already, 1,000 watch hours, and I need 500 subscribers. So we're at 360 something. I forgot what it was. So we're almost there. And that way you can, donate while we're watching here, watching me demonstrate things. That's, a lot of people rely on that. Yes. YouTube takes like 45% out of that, but at least it's some revenue coming in where otherwise there's none. Okay, enough about that. Let's go ahead and say howdy to everyone. Nigel Waters, 7:39 this morning, my time, from Wales, UK, Canon Pro-300 with all the trimmings. And Ron K is back with us. By the way, welcome back, Nigel. He is a regular watcher. Ron K, Trenton, New Jersey, EPSON EcoTank 8550, QMH Ultimate Lifetime, R5 Mark II from Canon, and a Canon D7D. Fred Elias, Sunny and Warren, Michigan, EcoTank 8550, QMH Ultimate D300 camera. That is, I believe, a Nikon. I1 Pro, Red River Papers, OEM inks, Home and Friends printers. So great. If you're a Red River user, please use my affiliate link. I haven't received a penny. So either it is not working, and I don't understand why, or either people are not using that link. It's just no effort whatsoever. Just copy, paste the link. In fact, save it as your regular connection to Red River. It will take you directly to Red River. There is no indication that is Jose Rodriguez or any other sort. It'll take you directly there, and you can just shop as you normally would. And automatically you would be helping the channel. Hopefully it is working. I really don't know. Quite a while ago, I did receive a few bucks from them, so it must be working. It just takes forever. Kevin Berniarski, Ellsworth, Wisconsin, Canon Pro-300, Epson XP15000, EcoTank 8550, and Keyimage Ultimate. That's a very, very good combination, folks. Martin van Gogh is here from the Netherlands, and Epson SCP-900 roll unit, OEM inks, Qimage, Lightroom DxO, Pure Raw, and Photoshop. Now you're in Europe, so you can use, if you ever wanted to use third party, you can definitely do that in Europe with the newer Epson printers. Here, of course, we cannot. Those naughty Epson people block us. But anyway, we survive anyway. That's why everybody's using EcoTank printers and Canon printers. Henry Stoffel, Balmy, Medford, Massachusetts, Epson P800, OEM inks, and of course, Keyimage Ultimate, Photo Nikon 780, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and Canon Pro-1000, Epson EcoTank 8550, XP15000, R1900. And that's the predecessor to the 2200, which is actually, the 2000, the R2000, is it? Yeah. OEM inks and papers and Red River, as well as Qimage Ultimate, Photoshop, Lightroom Classic, and DxO PhotoLab 9. All sorts of things. James Mark Coffey is here, Louisville, Kentucky. Welcome back, my friend. Canon Pro-200S, OEM inks, Image 1, Capture 1. Fred Bird, Ellington, Connecticut. Work in commercial aerial and photo restoration. Harold Davies, my friend, is here from Wisconsin. He's got a 1100, a 2100, wow, a PCSC Qimage, and still visiting with my sister, my other sister up from Tennessee. So I'll be in and out. Yes. And happy birthday to one of the young girls, right? I remember that. And by the way, this Friday was my 76. So 76 trombones is what my wife was singing to me Friday. And I always say I'm a 49er because I was born in 1949. Nigel Waters, he says, hi all. Has anyone had an IO error 123 on Qimage? I had this error this morning. What does IO mean? I'm not sure what you're getting at, but error 123. So you were inside Qimage when that occurred? Again, I wish Mike was here and he could fix it like that for you. Fred Elias, I have used your Red River link. It takes no effort. Just use Joe's link. Yes, that's it. And save it as your, what do you call that? Gosh, I forget words now. I'm getting old. Your link, you save as a whatever. Yeah. Judy Ann is here. Oh, by the way, I told my daughter that you wanted that picture of the fashion window. She said, no, it's hers. I gave it to her. We're going to be making another one, and we're going to be making it with a wider border so that I'll be able to use my frames that come with about an inch wide mat. So I need that little extra space for me to then sign it. So we'll get to that later on today. James says, input, output. Oh, okay. Don't know then. I really don't know. Yeah, I'm hoping that he comes on board. He's so busy lately. That's why they cannot get together and come up with a date where they can both be here live, and we will interrogate the living daylights out of them. We're going to do that because I have a lot of questions as well. Things have really changed in the last few updates. Slightly different. They're not things that I used to be able to do. It seems like all of a sudden I can't. So we'll get together with them and hopefully learn how to do these new things, these common things in the new version. Has not been real recently. I will notify you next time. Have not been. Okay. That's about this. Yeah. Okay. Kevin says, happy birthday. My birthday is on the 6th of October. I'll be 67. Oh, you're just a baby. Yeah, but happy birthday to you coming up. That'll be what, this week, right? Yeah, I had a great time. Basically did nothing. I made a delicious dinner for my wife and I, Puerto Rican beans with rice, and it was my mother's really quickie recipe. Normally this takes all day to do. If you do it traditionally, you start with dry beans, and you got to soak them all night, and then you cook them forever. And yeah, no, I use Goya in a can, pink beans. Pink beans are the best for this recipe. But anyway, it was lovely. And we had lunch together. My son calls, says, happy birthday, Dad. And then I say, hey, listen, I made rice and beans. Oh, perhaps I should come over, he says. He speaks very, very fine English for a half Puerto Rican kid. But he was over, gorged himself. And then the following day, yesterday, we went out to eat with my oldest daughter, Nathan's mom, and her husband, and Nathan, of course, and then Jeremy and my wife, and had a great time. In fact, we just ate some wonton soup. I bought extra to take home. It is the best. I judge a Chinese restaurant by the quality of their wonton soup, and this is just absolutely delicious. Yes, bookmark. That's it. Thank you, Fred. Harold Davies asked Nigel, did your file name contain special characters? Yeah, I cannot use certain weird characters, especially the ones on the top row of your keyboard. It will not accept that. But it could be something else. Sounds good. My grandparents used to do that out in the farm at smoked meat in the smokehouse. Yeah. So instead of like, what is it? Pork belly. In Spanish, it's called tocino, which is a very thick bacon. And you just get a chunk and you crisscross it and just put it in the beans. I use real bacon, but we found a bacon at a butcher, a local butcher that sells, I mean, the freshest meat you've ever had in your life. And they had this bacon, and I said, why did this taste so good? Because I didn't even have a certain ingredient that is necessary. It's called sofrito. It's Puerto Rican. It's Puerto Rican, African, Afro-Puerto Rican, Spanish mixture that you add with everything pretty much. So if you know what I'm talking about, if you're from Florida, you got lots of Puerto Ricans around you, sofrito. So sofrito is a mixture of pepper, tomato, onions, and all kinds of other condiments as a sauce. And you add that as a base for just about everything, even scrambled eggs. And so I didn't have that because I opened my jar and it was moldy. Threw it out, and so I omitted that ingredient, and yet it came out. I told everyone that it was the best I've ever made, so maybe I don't even need it. But anyway, yeah. So this bacon, oh my God. And I still had a lot left, and I just cooked it all, drained it, patted it nice and dry, and put it in baggies, and it's in the fridge. A great little snack with some crackers and cheese, let me tell you. Watching TV and eating some of that bacon. I'm going to get some more the next time we go to that place. Henry Stoffel says, post any QMH problem in the QMH forum. Yeah, Mike is very quick and usually in less than a day. Yeah, I would suggest that. Good suggestion, Henry. Thank you. All right. We talked about chips last week. The good old days when there wasn't any chips, and if you were able to refill, especially early Canon printers, their cartridges, they looked just like this. It was a sponge side and an empty side for ink to be added to. All you needed to do was drill a hole that would accept the plug. And back then we didn't have plugs. That was, we were using aluminum tape or some other way to seal that hole. Add ink. When you put that, see, if you went into the cartridge change routine in your driver, it automatically assumed that you are going to either check the contents of that cartridge and maybe put it back, or remove that empty cartridge now and then put a new one in it. No chip. Once you went back, it would ask you, in other words, close the lid. It asks you, did you change the cartridge from an empty one to a full one? And by the way it knew it was empty, it's just guessing. And you either say yes or no. If you say no, then it remembers whatever the ink levels guessing were of the cartridge they assume you removed, and you put it back in. It knows you removed yellow, let's just say, somehow, and you put it back in. It would ask you if you removed it and replaced it. If you did not replace it, then you just say no, and it stays at the same level. It'll still run a purge cycle and reduce those overall levels a little bit. So it was awesome. You just refill and just, say that you refilled, say that you replaced it, I mean. And so then chips came in. Well, all of these Canon print, especially Canon printers and early EPSON printers. So China began to make refillable cartridges. And these cartridges, because now they had chips, these cartridges had chips. Now, early on, especially on a Canon printer, you can just go ahead and modify it, refill it, and now there were resetters for the chips. So you reset the chip before you fill the cartridge and then pop it back in. Done. Or get refillable cartridges, and they had various types of chips. So the term auto reset chip didn't mean exactly the same thing across the board. They were very, slightly, not slightly, but quite different versions of it. In fact, early on, it was crazy. So if you were to take, say, for instance, an EPSON 360 from way back then, or a 1400 like I have, your resettable system, the cartridges didn't even have chips on them. The cartridges simply fit in the slot. And behind that was an installed little item, a component that had, for instance, 6 chips. So that was totally separate from the cartridges. So that component would actually communicate with the printer. And there were buttons. And what you did to reset, because all you needed to do, let's see who that is. Hang on one sec. Oh, that's our friend. So all you needed to do was interrupt power to it. So all 6 chips on this unit slid in. The cartridges sat on top of that unit. And when one was empty, you just press the button, it interrupted power, and then you let go. It restores power, and that chip would be reset to full. You had better have, filled that cartridge with ink. Don't reset it and then forget to do that. Okay. So that was one method, and it was really, really weird. Later on, cartridges themselves had built-in batteries that you had to replace every once in a while, and a button. So to reset that chip, press the button, and it would reset the chip. It was like a little built-in resetter in every cartridge, operated by that battery. Some of them you could just reset at will. Again, you better refill them. Don't be resetting them. It's like if you could reset your gas gauge to full, but you never filled your tank. So you need to fill your tank and also reset the gas gauge, right? So another method was you had to wait until it was actually declared empty before it could be reset to full. These companies were just going crazy with different methods and it was hard to keep track of what was which. Auto reset, ARC, no, it didn't mean the same thing. So then came in these types of cartridges. This is for like an EPSON 3800, 3880. Now, this operated in a different way. So I need something to poke this out with. I'll just use my ruler here. So it had a so-called service chip here. Come on, baby. I hope I didn't glue it in place. Anyway, this comes off. All of the chips are the same visually. Here we go. You should really use just a little bit of a, like a tiny screwdriver. So this chip comes off. This is called a service chip. Now, to make this work, I would have to get an OEM matching chip, the color you see here. That is the original chip from the original cartridge, such as this. So that chip right there, I would remove it and say this is for matte black, and this is again also for matte black. I would go ahead and put that chip in position. It has little slots so you can orient it correctly, and then this would sit on top. There are little pins right underneath that contact that OEM chip, and the sole purpose of this is just for identification for color. So it identifies that chip by its unique color ID code, and then this is what actually regulates the level. So you run empty according to that chip. Is it accurate? Not quite. So you run empty, you remove the cartridge, which does what? Interrupts your electrical contact. It's no longer, connected to the printer. So insert it back on. I hope you refilled it. Now it's declared full. So it goes empty, you remove it, and you just put it back, and it goes from empty to full. When it says empty, is this really about to go empty? It better be about to go empty and not empty. These cartridges, the OEM ones, they keep an extra 10 ml of ink as a buffer. So if you run out of ink according to the chip, you really did not run out of ink. You still have 10 ml. These have an internal ink bag. These do not. This is just a bunch of compartments, and there is a priming chamber located right here. That round area there, that little round compartment is your priming chamber. That can never go empty. And you have to basically power prime it. You fill this. There's a plug right here. You remove it. You attach a syringe with a plain tip, and you pull back. It will remove air that's inside that chamber, and all of a sudden now you're sucking nothing but ink. Stop, remove the syringe, put the plug back on it. That cartridge now is primed. It is ready to be used. It's like priming a pump. It's like priming when you're sucking gas out of your tank. You have to, and you get gas in your mouth, it's going to flow now, right? Yeah. But anyway, so that's how you do it. Then you just top off. If you use, say, 10 ml of ink trying to prime it, you got to put ink back in to make up for that, because you want to be ahead of the game. You want to have enough ink so that in case the chip goes empty, you still have ink. Well, what if the chip goes empty and you already would have run out of ink? So I suggest to everyone back in those days, and you may see this in some of these newer videos, the older videos that I'm re-uploading, you got to fill these up when they reach halfway. Okay, do not even wait later than that. You open up the ink door and you look through here. This is transparent. I don't have a label here, but you can see what the levels are. If you need to remove them, go ahead and remove them, and then just top everything off while you're there. Just top everything off. There's not going to be any kind of purge, ink purge performed. These are stationary cartridges. They don't do that. there are ink lines and dampers inside the printhead. They have ink. Don't worry about that. So all you got to do is one at a time, remove it, remove the fill plug, add ink, put the plug back on it, check it to make sure everything is okay, and you are good to go. If you have ink, say all the way up to here, there is no serpentine vent like Canon Pro-100 cartridges have. You cannot really, even if you overfill where it starts to spill over, just remove some of the ink. Just fill it up as high as you can and put that plug back on it and put it back in your printer. That will ensure you that if your chip at that point was, say, at 75%, you don't have to worry because it'll reach empty and you will not have run out of ink. So that was the trickiest part, oh my gosh, of dealing with these types of refillable cartridges. Some of them were truly auto reset, and they incorporated those on continuous ink systems. So continuous ink systems were available for most refillable type EPSON printers. Those models, you could buy a so-called CISS, CISS, so continuous ink system something, and that sits externally. It's a series of tanks, and then you feed your dampers instead of cartridges. They call them dampers. So basically, they're just cartridges, 6 or 8 of them, whatever, however many you need, and they have little lines leading to them. They fill. They're always going to be full, always. They're never going to go empty, but the chip doesn't know that. The chips, they think, hey, I ran out. Well, guess what? They automatically reset to full. That's what I had on my 1400. And I'm thinking, where did I put that? Do I still have it? Because I would love to run my sublimation system through that. Unless I just, run into some money and I buy an 8550 and just convert it to sublimation. That would probably be the best thing to do. But at this point, I do have the 1400 available. And it uses 6 colors, so I'm able to use the 6-color sublimation ink set. And it produces really great results. But anyway, those are the history of chips. And today, chips, they're not resettable. They have really made it extremely difficult for printer chips to be reset, even if they could be reset. For those who may not know, especially the EPSON family of printers here in this continent, let's just say North America. I don't know whether that includes Mexico, maybe, but EPSON has blocked resetting or the use of third party by a very simple method. Very simple. It couldn't have been simpler. I have a fingerprint, so if I take my fingerprint, no one else in the world has my fingerprint. So if I run on a battery, and yeah, I can recharge that battery and reinstall myself. Nope, it sees the same fingerprint, and the printer knows that Joe ran out of electricity. The battery died, went from full to dead. So how could I possibly have a full battery now? You see what I mean? No, it won't let me. The printer sees that yellow code. It was once empty and now it's magically full. No, it's the same cartridge chip. Nope, I cannot let you use that. In Europe, it lets you use that. And prior versions, up to like before the P800, the printer didn't care. The firmware just didn't care. It says, yeah, I know you reset the chip. That's okay. Continue printing at your own risk. Yeah, but not any longer. So you cannot do that. And a group somewhere in the world created chipless firmwares for certain printers. And the last one that they were able to successfully create was for the P800. None for the 700, none for the P900. So those of you who own those printers here in the US, you're getting wonderful prints because you're using only OEM ink. Okay, so they have not been able to create a chipless firmware for those newer printers. Now, Canon, yeah, they use chips. Canon has the ability for you to somehow refill your cartridges after either a small modification like these, where you actually create a hole for a plug, or just by refilling them directly. You can do that right through the ink port. And the problem is, of course, you cannot reset the chip after a certain set of models came out. The last one was a Pro-10. After that, forget about it. Forget about it. If you're from New York, you know how to say that correctly. So how can I continue refilling? Well, they let me somehow but disable the chip. And that is a sort of like a loophole in the laws that says that, yeah, we don't want to get sued by forcing you to throw away cartridges that still have ink in them. And I believe that started with these. So the sponge was still sort of saturated with ink when it was rendered empty, and you threw away ink. Well, the courts don't understand ink technology and printer technology, so they just agreed, yes, you're forcing people to throw away ink. No, the reason I'm not letting you continue printing is because you're going to burn out your printhead. There is a reason for it, but apparently the lawyers couldn't make the case. But that is the case. There is a reason for these cartridges to say, hey, I'm empty, you better change me, especially when using thermal printheads like Canon does. Epson, nah, Epson doesn't have any issues with you continuing to print, but they still make you throw away ink. So newer printers, they're a little bit better as to how much ink you're actually throwing away when you change a cartridge. So with Canon, yes, okay, we understand that you're worried about, tossing ink away. Don't tell anybody, but we're going to let you disable your chip. And here, hidden in this 800-page file, what do you call that? The booklet that mechanics use, yeah, printer mechanics. There in page 377.3 is the instructions on how to reset your chips. It's there. It's actually there in every one of these models. What do they call it? The work. Yeah. Anyway, so you reset your chip, and oh my God, I can actually inject ink through the internal, the ink port. Well, but how do I know? How do I know when I need to? Well, that's up to you. That's why they let you. It's up to you, and it's your fault if you burn out your printhead. But yeah, they let you do that. So that is pretty much the history of chips, as far as we know today, up to today. Now, the chips are just untouchable. So you own a Canon printer, all you really can do is to disable the chip. And yeah, they let you refill those. This is easy as pie. In fact, I don't even need to make a hole. I can just vacuum fill it. You might need to search high and low for a tip. These are the ones Precision Colors used to sell. Allows you to push ink and pressurize that internal compartment there. It's just a little box. There's nothing really inside. It's just a container. You pressurize the ink, and then you let go. It creates bubbles come out, pressurize, bubbles come out, pressurize, bubbles come out. So it's actually pressure filling. If you use a syringe, you can create a vacuum by pulling back the plunger. Say a 100 ml syringe, you load 60 ml of ink, push in, pull back, push in, pull back. You can refill that by negative and positive pressure, probably twice as fast. This is a hell of a lot easier, though. Just a little 30 seconds of an inch hole and a plug. You just use a syringe. What I do is I add ink and I weigh it. My goal is 112 grams, and I'm good to go. Today, we can use the sensor system on our Pro-1000, Pro-1100s. Continue refilling. If you want to use OEM inks, you can buy 700 ml cartridges, extract that ink from that, save it in bottles. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways, and Canon allows us to use those methods. They're not publicizing them, of course not, but they are allowing us to use those methods. Yeah. So if you start refilling your sponge cartridges and all of a sudden you see a channel completely blank in your nozzle check, normally that is a rare thing where everything else is perfect and one channel is blank. It could be one of two things. Either that channel is totally failed, electronically it is dead, so none of the nozzles are being stimulated to create a little droplet to, spit out a little bit of a line, or you have massive amounts of air in that damper or whatever. So how can that happen? Well, this is only if you're refilling. If you are not refilling, it could have been that you forgot to take the tab off. This is a third-party Pro-100 cartridge. Notice the difference in the size of the chamber. Slightly smaller, so you get less ink. See that? They walled that off. They actually walled it off. Isn't that amazing? So here we have the little tab that you're supposed to remove, and that opens up the hole on the vent that is located over the sponge. So you pull that off and you open up that vent. Now the ink, as it flows out of your cartridge, does not generate a negative pressure internally. So you don't remove that and you start printing normally, it will begin to print. Maybe because it needs to charge the system first. And if it's doing that and it cannot vent itself, it's going to create a negative atmospheric pressure internally. So ink cannot come out and you're going to get a magenta blank channel. Well, what if we're refilling? It could be that you overfilled it. Let me go back to my magenta cartridge. This is OEM. It has not been tampered with. Notice that the sponge, unlike this, see how that is all the way to the top? Look at that big gap above the sponge. You see that? Look at this, hardly any gap right there. So we have a serpentine vent is like this, and it allows air to enter as ink is being removed, okay, from here. So it goes from here to here, and it vents this area here for you, so you don't create a negative pressure. So once you modify the cartridge, there's no more tab, so that's out of the question. It cannot be that. What could happen possibly is that you got a little bit too anxious and you overfilled it, and now that vent is completely flooded with ink, and it's just locked. It cannot allow air to come in because it needs a lot more pressure than what the basically just drawing ink is doing from the cartridge. So the only way, and this is funny as can be because I've seen it done and it ends up with ink all over someone's lips. They do this. Here's the vent right here. They do this and they blow into it, and that will push all the ink out of the vent. It comes here and you're good to go. At that point, you do a cleaning cycle and print normal. Do a nozzle check and it should be back to normal. But you'll get ink all over you. Now, if it's magenta, it's fine. It looks like lipstick. So depends on which way you go, so it doesn't really matter much, but that's the only way you need. There's really no other way to clear that vent. If this was an EPSON cartridge, you can stick a syringe into the port and suck ink out, and that would then create enough force to clear that vent. But yeah, seeing a completely blank magenta or yellow channel is pretty rare, and it's usually caused by a blockage, either by air or especially with Pro 100s, Pro 200s, you have flooded that vent, and it can no longer flow. It creates like a lock, a liquid lock, where it can no longer flow, and so at some point, then the channel is receiving nothing, so it's going to go blank. You might have like a few nozzles. Usually what happens is the opposite. You will have a few little lines missing. On, say, an EPSON printer, those are actually lines. On a Canon printer, it's just a bar, but it's composed of multiple little dots, one after the other. So each horizontal row is one nozzle, the next one below another one. And after 150 nozzles, it creates a band. So if some of those nozzles are not firing, you're going to see little gaps here and there. Usually it'll be a few gaps, not 90% of it gone, and then a few little lines of ink. No, that's a massive airlock or ink lock. Okay, and you need to check. Usually happens when you're refilling. It will not occur when you're using OEM unless you forget to take that little tab off. So hang on a sec. He's talking about smokehouse. Yeah, they must have not there in the facility where I go to. It's a small little shop. Reminds me of a slightly larger 7-Eleven. It's got everything. You can go shopping there, literally, instead of, say, Safeway or Giant, and get the best meats, the best fresh vegetables you could ever come across. And for at this point, their sausages are out of this world. The bacon. We get stuffed chops, pork chops that are amazing. Called my son, hey, yo, Jeremy, we're at so-and-so's, and the stuffed pork chops look really great. Uh, would you be interested? And he says, perhaps. And he shows up that evening. So, yeah, he knows. He knows how good they are. You can actually get like a whole side of pig or lamb or whatever you want there. Yeah, it's that kind of place. They don't do it there on the spot. They do it elsewhere. But anyway, Richard Bender, a little late from Hagerstown, EcoTank 8550, Nikon D300, QMH Ultimate, Red River, and other papers, working with AI image creation. Yes. I'm going to ask you from now on, send me that download link. Is the same Tool Joe 1949. Tool Joe 1949. Will send it to my Gmail, not my Yahoo. Okay. I'm trying to keep things separated. For Yahoo is for my normal, non-printing emails, and then the Gmail one. It's the same as Tool Joe 1949 at Gmail. If you want to do a conversation about printing, send it to my Gmail. Okay. If you want to just invite me to a birthday party, send it to the Yahoo side. Okay. So that would be, I think it'll be better for me because I do all of that down here, not upstairs. Okie doke. Let's go ahead and go into Photoshop. And I'm going to show you what I was demonstrated in one of the videos that I uploaded this week. Let that load. Then we will go ahead and attempt to print one. But this is what has worked. Let me see if I have my samples here. So Let me pop this over to the other screen. So these are, I think it's the same. This is Aurora Art White from Red River. And they come pre-scored. I have an actual, I just found it unopened sample pack of cards. So I'm going to go through that probably this week. So basically they come flat. And so they have a little score mark right here, folded. The score is made so you fold it so that the outer surfaces are the printable surfaces. And you get that. When you print it, you get that. So slip that into one of their envelopes and you are good to go. I'm using their ICC profile. So here's one for Easter. A simple little Christmas one. Richard and I make digital paintings. This is Ellicott City, actually. No, this is Maryland's capital, Annapolis, the old part of it. And if you want to just use, nature, you can do that as well. And this is all done with one template that I'm going to show you guys how I used to go about doing that. You no longer have to use this methodology, but it really works nicely, and I enjoy doing it that way. It just makes it. I'm used to it. You get used to something, and it works, and it produces the effect, the product that you want. I'm not going to jump over to some AI crazy brand new technology. I just don't have any. I'm 76. I don't have any need to then jump what would have been, in my case, like jumping 20 years ahead, So I'm going to stick with what I know. This is why it drives me nuts when these companies, software companies, update something that really didn't need to be updated. They just feel that they need to keep up. Otherwise, they lose business or something. I don't know. But anyway, so here we are. And this is it right here. So I made that template. And it looks like this. So all it is just, in this case, I made a document that was 9 by 6.25. Yeah, 6.25 by 9. And then I dragged a center line. And I created a so-called, it's almost like a mask, but it's really a rectangle tool. So, and then that allows me, so you see this is actually adjustable, okay? And I have a little bit narrower border than I did in my previous attempt. So we'll just leave it at that. I'm going to go ahead and bring it down a tiny bit. Okay. So what do we do with that? Okay, well, you add a photo to it. It's like a mask, but it's really called a, I forget what it was called now. They call it a rectangle tool, but it really is it has a more functionality than just creating a rectangle. So I'm just going to open up a file. Let me make sure that I am good to go here. Enter. And we're going to open up a file. And let's just say I want to do Little Red Riding Hood here. We'll go ahead and do one. I have one that is more photorealistic, and I have one that is more art. So we'll use the art one. So it opens it up. I'm just going to pull it away. Make sure that I got this tool activated. I'm just going to drag it over. And as you can see, it's a lot bigger. So I'm just going to go ahead and close it. And here is what the fun part. So I'm going to sort of size it approximately that size. But wait a minute, it's on top. So I have to clip it. I have to make it fit behind this magic window. And the way to do that is to Alt key, whatever that is on Mac, and click, and then move your cursor so that it is in between where the image is. Make sure the image is on top of that mask, and then just bring it down right there where the two layers join. You see that little down arrow? Click on that. Now it is masked. Now it's behind that window. I can now just play with it as much as I please. Orient it whichever way I want. That is now centered. I can make one like that, or I can make one where it includes more of the actual image. Let me bring this down for maximum inclusion of the image right there. And that is good to go. I can now print that. Okay. So I can save that or not. I can just immediately print one, and that's it. Throw it away. No, you don't want to do that. So what you can do is this becomes kind of a master template. So if I was going to make maybe a set of 5, and I was going to print 100 each and have a series of similar type cards, for example, let's just remove that. I'm going to go ahead and go back to open. Let me just remove myself. I want to make this a little bit larger. There we go. So we just go over to open. I hate that live button. It gets in my way. So open. See that? I cannot see open. And I'm going to go ahead and choose some of these images that look at that they were shot in France. And they're actually works of art. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have another one? No, that's it. So open. I'm going to drag them all out. And now this is my original, so I have only 3. So I'm going to just drag, make sure that this is set to that position there, and just click and drag, click and drag, and click and drag. Okay. So now they're sitting on top of each other. Okay. So we're going to clip this one. Alt, hover right between the two, click. Alt, hover right between the two, click. And click. Okay. So now I have 3 files behind my mask. I can bring myself on here. Hang on. Like so. So now we can, for instance, hide that one, hide that one. We'll work with this one first. Look at how huge it is. Maybe like that. Yeah, that's a pretty good little layout right there. If you want more of the reflection, you can orient it this way. Okay, so let's just say we like that one. I'll go ahead and now we'll take care of this one. And again, it's much larger than what I really need. So we'll just crop it down to fit a little bit more, like so. And again, maybe like that. A little bit more of the lights above them. Increase it a little bit so we have a little bit of wiggle room, like that. Okay, that one's ready. We'll go ahead and hide that one. Open this one up. And you might say, well, this takes a lot of work. Yeah, it does. But what I end up with, if I like that one, what I end up with is this, folks. I can go ahead and print 100 of these, turn it off, 100 of that, turn it off, and 100 of that. One single file. All I got to do is hide each layer. I can make 50 layers if I have that many photos that I'm going to be creating so many sets with of cards. You see what I mean? So I can then file, save this as a PDF. It will retain the layers. Okay. Now, one thing that I can do that we did not do earlier is add a stroke to these. So you can do that simply here, that mask. So click on that, effects, stroke. And then we're going to go ahead. Let me show you what that looks like. Stroke. What color do I want? Black. And do I want it inside or, let me see, outside? Outside. Hold on one sec here. Let me undo that. I should be able to add a stroke. Maybe inside. Yeah, I have to add it inside. That's not necessary, but I've done it before. And it seems to work really nice. Well, inside and right there. Not too much. That's probably too much. Let me go down to like 8, maybe 10. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and click. And now when I add my image, it has a stroke around it, as you can see. So it'll print with that little stroke around it, which will make it pop out of the background. And that will be applied to every other images on every one of those extra layers. So let's go ahead and we're going to print this one. Again, remember, this is really meant for a square print. But we'll go ahead and print this one. So what I like to do, obviously, is to print it in QImage. But in order to do that, I would have to export it. Okay. So file, export, actually automate in this case, QImage Ultimate. So now it's going to open up QImage over here. I'll transfer that over there so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here you see the file, but this is not the size paper we want to print on, is it? So we'll go ahead and make sure that we have the 8550. Bellow Fine Art, no, we're not going to be using that. We're going to be using Aurora art paper, which uses premium, I think, presentation paper matte. And I got to go with a what you call it, a 9. So length is going to be 9. Got to choose. I don't have one already saved. So we're going to go ahead and go down here. Yeah, I don't have a 9 by 5.25. So we're going to have to create one that is a width of 6.25 by 9. And we're going to use, do I have that Red River Aurora? Let me see if I do have it installed. I'm going to search for it. I'm just going to type in Aurora. Aurora. Oh, no. I'm trying to save something. Forget it. That's the wrong button. Oh, I'm doing everything wrong because I'm having a hard time seeing here on this. Here we go. So browse. Okay, now I can type in Aurora. There should only be a few. So let's see what we have for the 8550 Aurora White right here. 8550, click on that. And good to go right there. We are ready. And it's going to be fit to page. And load that image just like that. Okay, that's all you have to do. Let me see if this requires a little bit of sharpening, which I think I should do. We'll do exposure adjustment, auto, and sharpening, because I'm printing it on a small material. This is really should be printed on like a 12 by 12. This is what it was designed for. That's a bit too much sharpening. Yeah, that's better. So 1/50, hit OK. OK. And now we go ahead and load one of these pieces of paper, cardstock. And you can see the, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the score mark right here, we're going to go ahead and fold it afterwards. It's simply inserted into your printer. We should end up with an image located the way my layout says. And when we fold it, we should have almost equal borders. Almost is what I always say, because nothing is perfect when it comes to print positioning, especially paper. These so-called self-centering printers, there is this imaginary axis, central axis, and it is that it should be a perfect mechanical central axis, but it's not. So the central axis that your software generates, does it really match the mechanical axis the printer creates when it self-centers that piece of paper? That's always been a mystery. The answer usually is no. It does not always, absolutely match. We are at 68. We'll make another card. Photoshop is still open. Of course, you can do this in QImage. There's a method to do this as well. But I'm showing you how to then create a file, a template that you can then save. I can save that set of images and print them later. I don't have to worry about redoing this thing, this whole process again. No need to do that. Okay, it's feeding perfectly fine. We'll go ahead and remove this, and we'll go ahead and jump back into Photoshop. I am going to activate another image. So this is the one we just did. Maybe, how about, no, we'll do this one. This one right here. And maybe I'll go ahead and sharpen it while we are here anyway. Cool. Let me see if I can do that. Unsharp mask. Let me see, that's a little bit too much. That's more like it. I'm looking over here. This is what I'm looking at right here. So as I increase, you see that it becomes very crunchy. And you want to bring it down to a more reasonable level, like so. And that's it. I can export that. Or just, you can print it here. You just got to manually look for the correct profile. So now it's going to transfer it over here. And I just load it. And this is already all set. So there's no need to do anything else. River Aurora White and print. So I could print 50 of those. Oh, you know what I did? Oh, my bad. I don't know why I did that. My error. Yeah, my error. So I'm going to, and this is what I want to discuss with Mike, because settings seem to change on their own. And I want to make sure that I get this correctly. So I am going to cancel this job. There's no paper loaded, so it's not going to be able to print anyway. But I'm going to try to catch this and cancel. Okay, so the problem is that it went back to 8.5 by 11. You see that? And that's not what we want, obviously. So 5.25 by 9. Click on that. And that's still wrong. I tell you what. Let's print it out of Photoshop. How about that? So we're going to just go File, Print. I'm going to have to create a custom size inside the driver. This is where QImage is a little bit easier, but no problem. You can click on that, go to User Define, and type in 5.25 by 9. Actually, 6.25. My bad. Right? It's 6.25? Yeah, 6.25. Maybe that was the problem. 6.25 by 9. And I'm going to save it. Click. It's asking me some instructions there. Yeah, we don't want black and white photo. We want color. We're just going to use, gosh, that's so hard to read. Presentation, paper matte. Okay. Why is it doing that? I made a, see that it went back to user define. Come on. It's like it's not liking my user defined size. 6.25. Okay. It says load one sheet of paper to the rear. Oh, I see. It thinks that, well, wait a minute. That is, something about that size. I'm going to include too high. Something about that particular size that is having a bit of a hard time. Please, I'm going to move this over to my monitor so I can read it, see it better. And it's going to ask me load one sheet of paper into the rear. with the printable side face up to prevent paper from jamming. Slide. Da, 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 da. Okay, so what? That's nothing special. Huh. That is weird. Very strange, folks. Always something. So I'm having a hard time creating a custom paper size or user-defined size that this printer likes. Maybe it cannot do something that narrow. I doubt it. 5.25 or 6.25? Who knows? User-defined, 6.25 the paper width, paper height is 9. Yeah, it should work. $6.25. Oh boy. Nope. There's something odd about this size. It's got to be. Because normally it should not have any issue. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. We got it. We got this. I think we do. I think we do. All right, let's load this up. This should not be happening with our trusted 8550 print. Well, I'm going to use the Photoshop Manager's colors. I'm going to look for Red River. See, here you got to do it manually. So EPSON Canon EPSON 15,000. I got to find 8550. Maybe I need to look on the Red River. Oops. Red River, okay. So Aurora. See how it's a lot easier on the 8550. Aurora White 8550 and print. The image is larger than the paper printable areas. Yeah, we know that. So we'll go ahead and print. Maybe what I will have to do is if my margins that I created here are narrower than the non-printable area, we're not going to get equal borders. That's why I think I have to do it here for a 1/4 inch width. These are wider borders. So I may have to adjust that. Now, Red River has downloadable templates that you can download from the page where they sell this material. Maybe I should do that. Test them out and see what is the difference. Here we go. This came out. Beautiful. Fold it in half. This would go in an envelope. All of the edges match. Yeah, go portrait. Thank you. That's exactly what I was doing wrong. Yeah. That came out beautiful. Beautifully centered. I mean, as good as you can get. Now, you can flip this over and orient it correctly. Like if I wanted to print something here or here, you'd have to feed it this way. Okay. That way, when you look at it, it will be in the correct orientation. Just make sure You can put your, in the back, you can put your logo, whatever you wish to print. Something of a graphic nature, identifying you as the creator, and get the envelopes for these, and you're good to go. All right. So that's such a pretty image. And I'm going to print this on 12 by 12. Okay, we're going to do one of those on 12 by 12 and then mount it on one of those big frames that I got myself. So we'll go ahead and then, I'm not going to save this. I already have the other one saved. So we're going to open up Q Image. And I have 2 sheets. This is neat. I like this. I got to come up with an occasion for me to use something like this. I don't know what that would be. And I'm also going to attempt to do a 12 by 12 sublimation. Now, as you know, I have to babysit this as it's been printed because the paper feeder, the travel, does not really grab. This is very stiff, so it has a very difficult time grabbing the front edge. So I have to literally force it through until it stops. I'm going to try to curve it a little bit, give me a little bit of extra help here. We're going to mount that on one of these right here. These are the ones that have that extra inch or so mat on it. Hopefully it'll work. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up. And I hope this works. I already have this already pre-set, supposedly. Well, see, now it's bringing back the old, and I am not about to change this. So what I'm going to do is redo the whole job myself. I had those saved to a specific folder, and somehow it came back. So regardless, I'm going to go ahead and use Velvet Fine Art, and we're going to automatically, see that? Automatically chooses the correct profile for you. Sort of remembers. That's the thing, how to use this method correctly so that it's always, since it's always remembering the previous job. That's where it gets a little bit difficult. So I'm going to open up and see if we can find, actually, I just want to do a folder. Hang on one second. File. Yeah, that's what I want to do. File, open, folder, and then I'm going to go to my desktop. And these are the AI images for the live stream, and hit OK. All right. We are good to go now. Let's make that one, I think it's 1 1/3, just about inch wide folder, maybe even more. So I'm going to go like an inch. I don't know. I got to check with my ruler. Here. Make sure that we are not going to make this with a border that is not wide enough. Now, there's going to be about from here. So this is 1 inch. So if I go almost 1.5 inches, almost a full 1.5 inches, I should have enough for that count, to take into account the extra mat around it. So we're going to use a border width of 1.5 inches. Let's just do 1.5 inches, like so. And which one did we like? Let me see what this looks like right here. Oh yeah. That looks very pretty. Although this one is also very pretty. Yeah, we'll do this one. Let me go back, remove this one. And this is already being worked to output sharpening to work correct. I have a score, black score around it, which should show up because we're going to end up with a gap about this much, maybe a 1/4 inch gap that we'll be able to use to, sign it and everything. So I think this is ready to go, ready to be printed. So let's go ahead and hit print. And I just got to be careful. I got to go back and make sure that I feed it until it stops, and then it will go ahead and grab it. So by the way, that paper was Aurora White. Now Aurora Natural is beautiful. It doesn't have OVAs. Your prints are going to last a lot longer on it because of that. Okay. %. As soon as it begins making noise, I got to go ahead and grab it. 75, almost. 73, 85. Whoa, that jumped. 89. See, what's good about QImage in this manner is that it loads the whole file. Some other printers, they start printing the partial upload, and that's where the print can stop, especially using Wi-Fi, because all of a sudden the data stops transferring. There. Yeah, it's a little bit scary pushing down, but you have to. Okay, so we're going to do that fashion photo. Then I'm going to show you what I did. See how it goes back? So I removed it and it goes back to that size. No, stay where you were. This is what I'm working on. So I got to talk to Mike about that. This is what I want. Do not, maybe if I actually remove it from the, like, untick it, in other words. See that? Maybe. Let's see if it stays on. Nope. It goes back. I got to tell Mike, find a way to fix that or stop it from changing. Just leave it at the current position I'm using. Let's see this one right here. So we'll do that one next. This is the one that our viewer today, Judy Ann, my other Judy Ann, wanted this. I hope that my Judy Ann found a place to hang it. She just has too much art on all her walls. And she says, oh, I'll find a place for it. But I want to reprint this because I think it came out quite nice. And I'm going to make another print. I'll show you what that is. In my, what happened? Okay. This is being loaded, so I cannot add it yet. Maybe I can, no, I was going to double click it and see, but it's not letting me. So this basically is me. I'm right here. And this is in 1974 when I was with the Special Forces. And this photo was completely damaged. This is a scan from a photo that was in bad shape to begin with. And I used AI to fix it. And it did a fantastic job. It was able to generate stuff that would have been here. Yeah, amazing. Okay, so that's loaded. Now I can go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about here. So you can see right here, this is basically, it was stuck to the page on top of it. And when I pulled it, it ripped out the whole emulsion from that. We had actual females. These are Special Forces girls. Did you know that? These girls are airborne. So there you go. And this is back in, I don't know, 1974. So we were pretty modern back then as far as the thinking goes. So let me show you what I was able to do. And there you go. So this is all added. My leg was missing. So I'm going to maybe print this someday on that type of matte paper, the linen type of paper, put it on a frame. I'll put this back here in my room. I don't want people to be staring at this. This is my own personal stuff. Okay, so this turns out, let me go back to me. By the way, this is sort of sized to like a 9x12. So this is 6. So it's like 9x9. Yeah, that'll be. That should be okay. I'm going to try with this one. I did already cut it somewhere. Where did I do that? Right here. Go ahead and undo the back. Excuse me. I'm going to move the mat to the front. Put the photo on it. I'm not using the plexiglass covering because that would detract from the look of that paper. I want that surface to be shown. That linen surface. It looks like canvas. Even though this is just an image being printed, it is an image that represents a painting. Oh, that's perfect. I can sign it here perfectly, give it a title, signature, date of printing. Look at that. So this, just a simple little frame, just adds $1 million of value to it. Look at that. And of course, I would spray this print before I permanently mount it. And, you know, can you print? Let me see. Big Global, Plainville, Connecticut, Photograph 11,000, 1100, OEM inks, Canon ProLuster 22x17. I was able to see the Pro 1000 photo and Pro 1100 photo much more detail in shadows and better blue presentations. Yeah, also better reds. And I was able to almost duplicate simply by printing on the Pro 1000 by using Pro 1100 profiles on Canon papers. I hope whoever did that demonstration that you saw did not try to cheat, in other words, because the differences are not like super day and night in real life. I've seen them myself. Okay, so be careful when you're viewing some of these so-called comparisons. And by the way, you want OEM, just buy your inks in this size. And yeah, you're going to spend a little bit of money. Look on eBay, search high and low for these inks. You will find them at a lower cost on eBay, even for the 1100. And this is lovely. This is just plain beautiful. Gosh. I'm going to sign it. And today is 9/28/2025. There. Now it's worth $1 million because it's got my signature on it. Of course. Right? So there we go. Another well done job. This is called Fashion Window. AIJFR. And this one I did today as well. So 9/28/2025. I'm not going to frame this one yet. I'm going to go ahead and spray it. The colors are just beautiful on it. I'm going to get a smaller sheet, and we're going to do this picture of my gang here, my guys. We'll be using the 9 by 12 actually. I got to come up with a size that would work for a border. So first I got to size this baby. But let's check and see what else was posted here. Pete Grobel says, in certain images, either light blue. The Pro 1000 and the 1100, they came out after the Pro 1. Okay, the Pro 1 had proprietary red ink, 12 colors, including a clear coat. So 11 actual colors. One of them was red, but it also had 3 grays. a dark, a regular, and a light gray. And that gave it the ability to just print the most beautiful gradual tones you could ever imagine. But it didn't exceed in those blue realm. Blue meaning optical blue, which is more toward violet. If you visually look at it, most people call the sky blue, and it's really cyan. So they came up with the Pro 1000, which removed one of the grays and added blue proprietary ink, along with also the red one. Well, it's always been a problem. And so I did a comparison between the the P800 and the Pro 1000, using images that had areas of that very deep, strong purple colors. The Pro 1000 blew it out of the water. The P800 couldn't even come up with a color resembling what I saw on the screen. Okay. And this is, again, with custom profiles and everything. So the Pro 1000 simply did what the Pro 100, Canon did with the Pro 100. They created the Pro 200. And guess what they improved? The blues, the blacks, and the reds. Okay. So I'm not surprised that occurred. What you could do if you have a Pro 1000, buy 1100 inks, refill your cartridges with the 1100 inks, and use the Pro 1100 profiles, or create your own. You will get the same results without spending another $1,500. You will. At least to the point where you just could not really tell the difference. Okay, Pete says, can you print one of the image son of on the Pro 1000, please? Why? What do you want to see? One of those images I just did? So I don't have a profile for that paper. I don't want to use a different paper, and that would not be fair. So if I was going to print on that paper in the Pro 1000, I just don't have a profile made, which I do for this printer. Okay. And for this printer, I'm using Velvet Fine Art paper mode, which means I made that profile printing with that paper mode, that paper choice. So I actually kind of cheated. I'm using both blacks at the same time. Okay, there is no Velvet Fine Art on my Pro 1000, so I cannot make a similar type profile that will take into advantage both inks. You see what I mean? So sure, I can print it on, luster. It just would not be the same. Okay, I wouldn't be able to do a perfect, direct scientific comparison. So I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to do that today. Maybe I will look into a way that I can create a similar profile on that particular media that now I'm in love with, and I'm going to continue buying it. The Strathmore acrylic linen art acrylic paper basically is for painting with acrylic paints. I think they don't realize what's happening in the inkjet world, especially with the 8550 and that paper, able to produce beautiful results such as those. Belated happy birthday. May have happy and healthy. Yes, I certainly hope so. Got a doctor's appointment coming up mid-October. I've been doing my vitals every night, morning and night, and I got the blood pressure of a 15-year-old at this point, so that should be good. I should have a good. Let's see, have my bloods come out. I'm on several drugs right now, but not like my poor wife. She's going through hell right now. So, and I need to take care of myself so I can then take care of her. So we don't want anything bad to happen, right? Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and print this. I have the 9x12. I'm going to have to create myself a. Let me see. Do I have exposure in this? Did I sharpen this? As you can see, this is not the biggest file ever. It is only 1286 by 904 pixels, so that's pretty small. But QImage does a fantastic job upressing. It just does it. It's amazing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. We're going to change our paper size to 9 by 12. And I think I just need like a 1/2 inch border for this one. Definitely not that. 0.5, like so. Except I don't want to crop her. So we're going to go ahead and undo the crop. And now we have her. And I want to make sure that, yeah, you can see that this one, yeah, she's right there on the edge, almost out of the picture. And yeah, that girl could run 5 miles with a 50-pound rucksack on her back. So quite an amazing person. So could this one right here. And all of us, of course. All right, let's go ahead and print this bad boy. Double check, Strathmore acrylic linen, 400 patches, Velvet fine art. And we'll see what kind of neutrality we get here. In fact, I wouldn't mind a slight sepia toning of this, but we'll just print it and see what we get. I could always go into the driver and choose black and white mode and then do a manual global adjustment for tonality, but we'll go ahead and just leave it as is. And then we'll do, I think I'm going to do the fish one here, the koi pond. It looks like it might be in Japan, although I created this, but I forgot what words I used, what descriptive terminology I used. And we'll do a 12 by 12 sublimation, and that'll be it then for our show today. And hopefully that will come out. That's something that I want to do more often, 12 by 12s, because then I can use my 10 by 10 MT, what is that called? Yeah, MDF support in the back. That gives me a perfect 1-inch border all the way around. Well, a little bit narrower because this is not really 12-inch by 12-inch. It's more of a metric size. You can't believe what you see on Amazon. It all comes from China. And they do metric. Okay. Okay. Let me get myself a 9 by 12 frame. Whoa. And we'll go ahead and print the one that we're going to do in sublimation, because that press is making the room too hot right now. This does not have a mat, so we're just going to lay the, oh, let me go back to me so you can see what I'm doing here. There's no mat on this one, so it's just going to be flush mount, but the print has a border, so that should be enough, and a nice stroke around it. And I'm going to sign it. I think this was shot probably when I came back from Korea, which was, I would say, around 83 and a half. And then I joined the Special Forces, Fort Devens, Massachusetts. And then we were pregnant with Janice, our second daughter. And so it was a little bit tough, me being in a unit such as that, where I was always being deployed here and there. And so, yeah, it was tough. But my wife is a champ. She's an ex-soldier anyway, so. While that is printing, let me go and see how this looks on this new matted type frame. It should look beautiful. Whoa. I love these frames that I was able to find on Amazon. Very, very low cost, super good quality. Even when Michaels has their sales, I really cannot do better. So, whoa, 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 whoa. There just isn't enough room here. Okay, I think that's everything. That's beautiful. Yeah. That really came out good. Okay, this is coming out pretty good. It looks almost vintage in quality, which is what I really love. If the tonality is not quite right, I'm going to go ahead and print it later on in black and white mode, and they just add this bit of sepia tonality to it. I want it to look vintage. Would have been so much better if I was able to have that negative. I have no clue whether I have it or not. I have some albums back there that I need to go through every single page and see what I can come up with and scan, and I can spend weeks and weeks and weeks doing that to rediscover some of these negatives that never made it into the darkroom as far as the print goes, because half the time you just didn't print every negative. You made a contact sheet and look through it and pick, maybe out of 36 you pick 3 or 4 and you print those, and that would have been it. So this came out pretty good. I like the look. I like the tonality. It's not perfect neutral, but it's really good. And it looks contrasty and like blown out of this is not an Ansel Adams. Okay, definitely not. So we'll go ahead and mount this. And again, just takes a couple of minutes, maybe even less, to pop this on a frame. And there you go. So that requires, I'm going to call this 1974. So this is my team, me, and my team, 10th Group, Special Forces Group Airborne, 19, Fort Devens, Massachusetts, 19, 80, no, 74. I messed that up. 1974. JFR 928 2025. All right, that's going to go on my wall. Along with a bunch of others. Okay, now let's set up for that sublimation 12 by 12. We'll see if we can pull this off. Let me see if there was any other discussion I had in mind here. Yeah, we already did the restoration image. So we're going to do the sublimation one. And that's going to be one of those 12 by 12, one of those square images. Certainly not one of these here. So got to remove that. And what we're going to do, we're going to switch over to the 1400. We're going to choose print more, and we're going to do a specific size. So 12.1 by 12.1. Of course, I got to pick the right paper, not user defined, but in this case, we're going to be doing 13 by 19. And then we don't want that to be printed. So I'm going to have to probably redo everything. Yep, I got to redo everything. So let's go back. 12.1 by 12.1. Okay. So I wanted to do this one. But before I even do that, let me remove my score. I do not want a score. I want a complete bleed beyond the actual bingo. And let's see, we have sublimation, aluminum chart, 400 patches, EPSON 1400, and presentation paper matte, Super B. And let's go ahead and print this bad boy. Cross your fingers because I haven't done any printing on this for a week and a half at least. And I don't know whether it's going to be able to print okay. Oh, my metal trimmer. Okay. I hope I don't have to use that to try to fix anything. I'm going to go ahead and pre-press this. It's at 352 right now. I'm going to add a little bit more pressure. Yeah, that feels about right. 42%. Now this print would be really good for a hibachi restaurant, Japanese style. I mean, where else do you see Japanese cherry trees in bloom and a bunch of koi fish in a big pond? This is all AI generated. It's amazing. This looks like a photograph. I'm sure if if you're an image analyst, you can look at it and say, yeah, that was AI. I see this. But for the most people, this will look natural to them. You'll be at a restaurant eating, and this will be next to you in your table or your booth. And you look at it and you say, wow, that's beautiful. Of course, that would have to be larger, not just 12 by 12. So 94%. And I pray that it's going to be okay. 100. So it's been a while, like I said, since I printed that printer. Hopefully it'll have no issues. The same thing also happens with my 4200, which I really should do an also check on it right now. This is done. Let me go ahead and quickly do that. Wake up. Okay, it's printed. There's not a lot of room to get around here, so you got to be careful. I knock things over. All right, we're going to go into printer preferences. Well, if I could find it, everything got rearranged. I need my control panel. Why does that happen? Show stuff, videos, OneDrive, slideshow. Goodness. Control panel. And devices and printers. I'm just going to print a quickie. Here's my 4200. Printing preferences, maintenance, and print nozzle check. And hopefully it'll be good. Actually, we should do one there as well. That one is set up for the smaller size prints. So like 8x12 is the max that I can do there. Yeah, it's doing a little pre-cleaning actually, so that's good. This is looking good. All right. So even though, you know, that's an EPSON printer, it's doing a pre-print clean cycle. So that's not bad. No, it's not that I don't like it anymore. Back then, I think you were referring to yesterday's at noon, an older live stream that I've been putting up every Saturday at noon. I didn't have this yet, okay, the 8550. That's all. And I'm doing a lot of sublimation now. No, the Pro 1000 is still number one. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I need to, if I'm going to make a comparison between this dye ink printer and the Pro 1000, top of the line 12 color, channels, 12 channels, and I need to give this a chance. The comparison has to be perfect. So if I'm going to print on this Strathmore paper, on the Pro 1000, I need to have a custom profile. And I need to be able to duplicate what I tricked this printer into doing. Remember, I'm using a trick that really you're not supposed to be doing, okay? And that is utilization of both black inks. This has a matte pigment black that is only triggered when you print on matte paper. Only when you print on matte paper. Well, not really. So when you print on matte paper, you're not using any of the dye black ink. There's a trick to use both of them, and I don't think that's able to be done on the Pro 1000. I need to investigate a little bit more, and if we can pull that off, then I'll do the same thing, and I'll next week. I promise you, we'll do a test on both printers with the same paper. That's the only fair way to make a comparison. Okay. Yeah, this needs a cleaning cycle, magenta. And that is full of sublimation ink, and that is why I need to be more conscious of doing nozzle checks on that printer. I should be using QMH. Yeah, don't worry. I still love that printer. It's my top of the line printer. If I had to get rid of everything, I would keep the P800 simply because it uses roll, and the Pro 1000 definitely. I would cry, but I would get rid of the 8550 as well. If I had to, I would keep the Pro 1000. But I mean, I'd be in tears. So, okay, let's do the 4200, and we're going to go ahead and perform a cleaning cycle. And usually what will happen is that, in this case, one of the colors, magenta. Okay, this is done. Yeah, very nice. It came out actually pretty nice. You can see it right here. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess. I got too much stuff on top of my trimmer, so I cannot do that over there. So I'll do it with a pair of scissors. Let this dry a little bit. I got to make room over here because we're going to be printing on something a little bit bigger than normal, 12 by 12. So I'll move my linen material over to this area here. Put this paper back on top here. The reason I took it off is because it has a tendency to feed double and triple sheets. Not a really good feed system at this point. It's still cleaning. Let this sit here for a minute or so to dry. Take the media I'm going to be transferring to, put it here. I'm going to peel off the protective coating. That's always fun. Not necessarily something you can do without any worries. This sublimation aluminum is only like a fraction of a millimeter. about pouring for almost not quite half a millimeter thick. So you got to make sure that you don't kink it in any way, shape, or form. So here we go. And of course, you're going to assume that it is in great shape, seeing that it was covered up by this. It should be nice and dry by now. So we'll go ahead and lay this on top. Lay it down so you have bleed all the way around. I made it a little bit larger than it had to be. The print, that is. And in this case, you know, this might just be 12 by 12. That's a little worrisome because I don't want any white borders to occur. Yeah, this is actually pretty accurate. I'm down to my last bit of 12 by 12 sublimation material here. Oh wow, that is like super duper close. I'm almost afraid to transfer it. I think that's okay. Tape. Little strips of tape all along the edges. You just do not want this to slip any way, shape, or form while you are transferring. That would be the end and a waste of material. Now, it's not that it's super expensive. This is not Chromolux that would break the bank. You don't want to be making mistakes using Chromolux. So, since I consider myself still learning, I want to make sure that I don't mess up unnecessarily. So we're going to do this image up. I want to add an extra sheet of this. Oh, wait a second. There we go. And like I said, I'm going to press down. I'm going to add a little bit more with my own body weight. Make sure that all areas are receiving a relatively good pressure. So right now, because I preheated this, it's not dropping down in temperature. It's at 343 right now. It was at 350 earlier. So that's not bad. That's why it really makes sense to pre-pressurize, not pre-pressure, but preheat that base before you trust it to have zero moisture. You got to get rid of all moisture. That is imperative. Moisture will block the molecular transfer of that sublimized ink into the layer of polyester. Absolutely, you need to do that. So that's one of the most important little tricks. "22 seconds, 21, 20. And there's no way that I can trim this because I don't, 12 by 12 is the max that you can trim on my trimmer. So even if I have to take the edge off, it's a little bit difficult to do. So I want to make sure that, okay, I'm going to cross our fingers here. Remove the, ooh, that is stinky. I don't like the vapors that creates. It almost gets me on my throat. Yeah, I see some issues on the edges. The trick is, if you're going to do 12 by 12, you need a much larger heat press. That's why getting, to like 11 by 14, which is like the max that I can print. I can do 16 by 20 if there is such a thing available, but I don't think there is. Okay, I see issues here. But I might be able to work my way around those. Hopefully. Yeah, 12 by 12 I can do pretty much without much worry. But, I mean, 9 by 12. Yeah, you can see right there. And that may have been, I have a sheet of paper on top of it, and that may have been the fact that there was a sheet of paper on top of it. We'll see if that really showed up on the actual aluminum. I just need a larger sheet of film that is just even. Or there's a special cloth that you can lay down over your, yeah, that showed up. Showed up right here. So this is not going to be a 12 by 12. You can see the edges. See how this edge is a little bit light? It's like ghostly. So that did not transfer. And that's what happens. This is what happens. So let me see if I can save this with my trimmer. It's going to be really a pain to do that because I'm going to have to cut 12 inches worth. We'll see. And I'm going to cut off one of those fish head. 1, 2, 3. Well, that's not the way I wanted it cropped, but it's just going to have to do it. I don't see any other problems. Not bad. I just won't tell anyone what I did. Right? Well, right here, there's a little bit of that issue as well. But it's almost imperceptible. Same thing at the bottom here. Yeah, I'm going to trim that off. You know me. I know it's there, and so I have to get rid of it. It's just a tiny bit. There. And I didn't cut off the fish's fin. This one right here. So now I have clean edges, I believe. And maybe here there's a little bit of issues. But again, it's very small. And the beauty about this, though, even though I'm sort of upset, is that nobody will know. Okay. There are no like sizes. Like this doesn't have to be 12 by 12. Ready? 1, 2, 3. This one's hard to cut. There you go. Got it. All right, so now I'm going to have to deburr it using not this one, but the coarser one right here. Get the back. And once I mount the MDF backup, it should be fine. There you go. That's nicely deburred. Use the finer side now. Now, if you were using PRECISIONCOLORS, of course, that would have been a waste. But one thing about it is that you don't have those burrs. PRECISIONCOLORS is super precisely cut. I mean, it's worth every penny. But you better not screw up. Because if you do screw up, it's a lot of money. You just waste it for no reason. And I will go over with a paper towel, dampen a little bit of water, go over the surface, making sure that I remove all fingerprints, which is extremely prone to that, being that it is like a mirror finish. Okay. All right. So we were able to salvage it. Once I put a backing behind it and mount it, you're not going to know any better what happened. I'm going to get, oh, I don't have any moisture there. I thought I would have a little moisture. Go over the front. And like so. And I think that came out surprisingly well. I moved my camera, didn't I? When I smacked the handle of my cutter. That's a little bit too high. Much better. There you go. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cute. Yeah, that'll work. I could really enjoy watching this while I'm nervously waiting for my doctor to call me in. Definitely. Okay. Any questions, folks? Please hit that like button. Yeah, that's a good thing. Please do that. Let me turn this off because it is boiling hot in here right now. Oh. Now I want to see. Let me see. I got 10 by 10s here. I prefer MDF. I also have plywood. MDF is very thin. Now this is just cardstock. Here's my MDF right here. I don't want to leave you there too long. This might work perfectly. I'll compare it to this plywood. See which one would work better. This one's more rectangular, so this is like same length, which is like 10 by maybe 8. Yeah, this works better. This is, yeah, that's not going to work. This would have worked had I not had to trim it. So I don't have the glue here, but as you can see, this fits almost equally. You know, put that in the back. We'll find the center line, vertical line, center line, horizontal center line, and we'll mount this. And then, of course, we'll have our wooden mount to this, and the pop-ups that these little babies right here that pop it off away from the wall, the floating mount buttons, if you will. In fact, I can put those on right now, actually, on the board. Yeah, luckily the side that was bad is not really a super important one. So that allowed me the freedom to trim the areas that didn't quite sublimate. And these little doohickeys right here are available on Amazon. Like everything else, you know. So I will be uploading some more videos tomorrow, starting tomorrow at noon. We're doing 5 a day, every day for the week. And then on Saturdays, and I'm doing them in the order that I have them on my backup drive. We're doing live streams Sundays at noon. We're trying to reach 4,000 watch hours. We are at 1,200 right now plus. So all in a matter of like a month and a half, which is not too bad. Pretty soon, if we get another 150 subscribers, we'll be able to get monetization for the live streams, where you'll be able to donate if you so wish to do by super chat. After that, the next goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers. Anyway, so this is it. So this is what it looks like. We'll mount that in the back. I'll save this until next week so we can those who may not have seen me do this can see me, how I approach this, and then that'll be it. We'll do something else. I'm going to be creating more images. When I get off here, I'm going to have to fix my desktop. It is a royal mess right now. I don't know how that happens. Or all my icons just, go crazy and disappear on me. There you go. See, look, it went back to a smaller. I don't know why. Watch. So I will go back to my original size. I will remove that. And when I take it off, boom, it goes back to, I want it to stay in the size that I created. Okay. Hopefully we can solve that. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I wouldn't put it past me. It's not the first time. As you can imagine, it won't be the last time either. So let me get my last image up here for the exit. And let's see, we are at 2.5 hours, just a little past. Anything else? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Pete Grobel says, do you think Canon will be a 17-inch printer with roll paper adapter? Why hasn't there been an EPSON 700, 900 been replaced? I don't know. If I remember correctly, this hasn't been around for that long. The 700, 900, has it? How long has it been? I don't think it's been that long. When do printers get replaced? How often? The Pro 100 was on for 13 years. Yeah, and then finally the 200 came out. So I have no idea. You think about it, it's all about, the commercial aspect. Sure, I want a Pro 1000 with a roll adapter, or I want a Pro 1000. I want the Pro 1000 with 17-inch. Well, if you want that, you just choose a larger printer, like a 2100. So the 2100 uses 24-inch paper, and it has roll capabilities. Would there be? Why did they stick with 13? No, it's 17-inch. The Pro 1000 is 17 inches, and that's about as high as you're going to get. And roll adapter, yeah, there's no other 17-inch in the Canon line with a roll adapter, as far as I know. That would have been a good idea. That would not have been a horrible idea. I would have saved my pennies and bought one had there been a Canon 17-inch, like a Pro 1000, 1100, whatever. Say 1100 with roll adapter. Oh gosh, immediately it would have sold out, no matter how many you had. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that. The jump from 17 to 24-inch just to have roll roll capabilities, I think is unnecessary. Yeah, the Pro 1000, Pro 1100 desktop type model with a rear mounted roll adapter like the P800, P900. That you just loaded yourself. You see, it doesn't have to be built in, in other words. Just let me attach my adapter and open up my manual rear feeder and slip in the paper. I would never have to pull it out, just like the P800. My roll is always loaded on it. I don't understand why they didn't do that. It would have been a fantastic seller. I often wonder what is going on in their minds. You see. Maybe they'll do that with the 1100. Now that it is improved, better print output. Obviously, it's true. It does. I'm going to start looking into the availability. What are the inks that are the most important ones? What are the inks that were actually modified when it comes to specific colors in the 1100? Can the Pro 1000 use this different type of ink with this waxy anti-abrasion ingredient? That's on the clear base coat, the base liquid that's incorporated in that. That's nothing to do with the dyes or pigments or whatever. It's all about the ink base. It has, like when you polish your car, you apply wax and it's runny, and then it dries, and then when you buff it, it becomes a hard, scratch-resistant surface, shiny. Is that what you're talking about when you say a waxy substance that prevents most abrasions, most handling abrasions? Well, first of all, I have never had an abrasion issue with my Pro 1000 using good papers. So I don't know why that was required. Maybe they changed it on purpose to make it incompatible for you to then just say, hey, I'm just going to use my Pro 1000 inks. Or for third-party ink creators, they would have to analyze that liquid base and see what is actually that substance that they're claiming they're using, and then just incorporate it into their third-party version of it. And I think they're going to be doing that. So, do you need? No, you don't. No, they have not. I think that was a complete failure. I haven't heard word from them. The original idea of the viewport, Mike Lee told me all the underlying secrets about it, and that so-called port was really some sort of industrial magnet. Had a magnet inside, and they removed the little circular clear window. They removed the magnet from it, and they're selling that as a port. And so they give you all of the tools that you need, all the glues, the adhesives that you need. And yeah, it does create a little port that you can see ink through it, but that's it. The assist did not amount to anything because, again, I should have received news of it and a sample, and I would have been glad to install it on my printer. Yeah, so that's about it. I haven't heard word since they told me they were going to be sending me once it is ready to be sold. Well, obviously not. So anyway, okay, so next week, again, this is boring as hell. Every day, 5 videos go up. Do me the huge favor, please. There's only 22 of you here, so that is nothing compared to what I supposedly had access to. But in my Facebook group, I supposedly have 9,000 plus members. Only about 300 are really active members. So what we need to do is keep watching videos, watch them several times. I need to increase the daily watch rate. In other words, the amount of time, because we got to reach that 4,000 watch rate, and then we got to maintain that watch rate. Okay, so if we can pull that off in less than a year, then that's it. We did it. It has to be in less than a year. 4,000 watch hours. I got 1,200 plus already. So in less than 1 year, we have to reach 4,000. I got 1,200 right now plus. And so month and a half, that's not too bad. So I would expect at that rate in 6 or 8 months, we would have reached the mandatory 4,000 watch hours. And then I'll get my monetization reestablished. And then I have to maintain that level of watching, which is a little difficult to do with At that point, I would have to have 1,000 subscribers. You got to watch an hour of my stuff a day to keep up. It's difficult. It's difficult. But anyway, I'm not super worried about becoming monetized again. Yeah, no. I'm not going to lose sleep over that. I'm relying on my affiliates, Rudy Hallamum, QMH Ultimate, QMH One, Red River, Amazon.com, and so forth. And they'll keep us alive, and I'll be able to continue doing this unless I lose my voice. Okay, which the way it sounds right now might be the case. Anyway, I'll keep you guys informed as to how my appointment goes a couple of weeks from now. Nothing really, to worry about. It'll be, my back pain and my sugar levels were a little bit high, so I got put on a medication for that. I think we're down to normal. My blood pressure was a little bit high, and I have cut down on everything that's sugary, and I feel pretty good, actually. Yeah. It's just that my allergies are still with me, and the environment outside is not really helping too much. Try not to go out too much. Anyway. All right, let me see. We got a couple of people here. For Nikon, still talking about the CIS. I think you run the risk of leakage, such a large hole in a car. Yeah. Depends how good you are installing those windows, those ports. I could do it. No problem. I have a complete workshop next to me with machinery and lathes and mills and you name it. I could do it, but can the regular person do it? It's only like $85 for this complete kit. You got to do it correctly. Otherwise, you need a bunch of extra carts, which I do have. So it wouldn't be an issue for me to get a working set of cartridges that will withstand. Remember, there's no pressure here. This is only feeding ink by gravity. So there's not going to be any issues with pressure causing a leak. No. So CIS unit, no, that did not work. Mike and I tried. Trust me. We tried years ago and no good. So when I heard that they were doing this, and when I saw the diagram of how they were going to do this, I said, nah, it ain't going to work. But I wasn't going to, comment. I wanted to let them develop this and see how far they got. No, thank you. That definitely helps. When I see my analytics, and let me see if I can show you what happens every weekend. It's really amazing. Let me make sure that I don't cut myself off. I got to open up a new tab. Okay, so analytics are done every 28 days. That's how YouTube does it. So what you got to do in order for you to see like the complete set of numbers, you have to go to beyond that. So let's just say overview. So we're going to do, these are all the live streams. Watch hours. And then we're going to do, instead of doing just, let me see, I can do this easily on my phone. So we are at 389 subscribers, 383 views in the last 48 hours. So we're going to go ahead and change this to 90. So this will cover all the time I've been doing this. So 387 subscribers, 1,200 watch hours. See this these are every weekend. Those spikes are every Sunday. So tomorrow there'll be one here. Okay. So the watch time, I don't know whether this counts. I think it does count as watch time. So that's what we need now. In order, and I'm showing you stuff here I'm not supposed to be showing you, but YouTube does not like people to share this information. Earn. So if I want to earn, I have reached the number of subscribers. Oh, I only needed 300. So this is you need at least 3 video uploads, which of course I have surpassed tremendously. So I need 500 subscribers. And that's all I need at that point. And I need 3,000 watch hours. So we're at 1,200 right now. So I need 1,800, right? 1,800 more watch hours, or 24 valid public shorts with 3 million views. Well, we're not doing shorts. We're using normal video lengths. Okay. So that's it. I have to reach that, and I can then have super chats available. Now for full monetization, it's like 4,000 hours and then 1,000 subscribers, and this will be activated. So I have to reach 3,000. Oh, actually no. Let's see. Yeah, 3,000 watch hours. Oh, okay. So yeah, so these are, there's all kinds of things, and I don't sell anything. So now for the full monetization, I got to reach 1,000. So I'm here already, subscribers, and I got to reach this for valid watch hours, and it's a moving calendar. So every day you lose the first day, and then you gain the second day, the last day. It's added. So it's a sliding year birth, basically. So we are actually, let's see, 1, 2 times. Oh, about, a little bit less than a third of the way there. So that's not too bad for just a month and a half. This happened August 12th. So 2 months. Yeah. 2 months and some. No, wait a minute. August 12th, September, August 8th, I'm sorry, September 8th. And yeah, it's not even October yet. So we're doing really well, I think. So again, and I do appreciate all your support. It's all about you guys watching the videos. So if you got nothing to do this weekend, just turn it on and walk away if you don't have to really watch it. Although if you look at some of the older ones, this is why I wanted to do the demo on Photoshop, because I did one of those videos where I created several templates that could be used. If you look at my slideshow of the weddings, that's how I created all of those templates for albums that have pages this long, like something out of Congress, and they were beautiful, seamless layouts of wedding photographs in the correct order, so the bride getting ready, the father coming in and looking at the bride and shocked how beautiful she looked. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And of course, graphics and backgrounds added to that. Well, you start with a template. And you make that template to be the size of the pages of that particular album. And those are sent as PDF. They're sent either as JPEGs or PDFs to the printer, and they print them for you. They bind the album together. At that point, I was paying, I think it cost me $350, and I was selling the album for like twice that, maybe more than that. And of course, with extra cost for the actual wedding. But yeah, that's how I did it. I used to call it storybook weddings, and I did that for several years, and then I got tired of it. and so I stopped doing it. I'm very strange. When I master something, that's it. I'm done. Off to something else. Let's master something else. Let's discover something new and try to learn everything about it. And that's just the way I am. With this, it's a constant learning experience. That's why I haven't stopped yet. And you guys keep asking me questions and keep challenging me. Wait a minute, I'm gonna have to make a profile for that Strathmore acrylic paper in my Pro 1000. Wait a minute, can I do the same trick I'm doing on my? See what I mean? I got to now. I got to challenge it. A challenge to do this, and I really thank you. Who was it? Pete Grobel. So thank you for that. Next week we're going to work on that, and we're going to make direct comparison. In fact, I still have my 1100 profiles loaded. Let's see what that does. Maybe it will do something interesting. I have not done any serious testing yet, but I want to see. I want to load something that'll have some challenging colors, challenging deep tones. We'll see. The idea is to be able, if I have, this is where you got to be careful when you look at a print that shows stronger blacks. Is it that they just block a lot of the last few black tones? Okay, and now it looks like stronger blacks. You got to realize that a standard image has basically a scale from 0, 0, 0. You cannot get blacker than that. You cannot go to -5, -5, -5. No, 0, 0, 0 is black. It is digital, optical, whatever you want to call it, black. 255, 255, 255 is just paper. It's your paper border, no ink. Okay? Everything in between, every 2. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. But it doesn't go like this. It goes like this. Plateau on the top, plateau on the bottom. So it's an S curve. And only a small portion of that curve is a straight line. Those are the ones that you actually see tonal differences that amount to the amount of 102, 104, 106, 108, and so forth. The upper highlight area and the shadow area will be compressed, okay, where there will not be, it's not linear, it's not a linear ramp. It is going to be like this, barely nothing, and then you begin to see some tonal changes. The same thing with the plateauing highlights. It'll just sort of disappear. The last 12 tones, you cannot tell the difference between values, okay? So the idea is when you make a profile that you emphasize those two zones. You're able to discern from 2 to 0 on print. You may have to backlight it to be able to see that. And that's when you know I have reached the max. A printer that claims that they do better, no way. Because if I can print the blackest and it's 0, 0, 0, and then 2, 2, 2, I can tell the difference. You cannot do better than that. You can't. I don't care what you say. You really can't. So let's experiment. I'm going to be doing that during this week, I hope. This is not a very busy week for us. I don't think we have any major appointments. My wife has some issues, and they did an endoscopy and a colonoscopy. They found lots of things that could be malignant. So we'll see. We'll be discussing it with our doctors and see where that takes us. Okay. So if you don't see me one weekend, it's because I'll be probably taking care of her, or just burned out because it's been a little bit hard going to daily appointments, and they're never close to your home. Just because I'm retired military doesn't mean I get to do everything at Walter Reed Medical Center. No, they send us out. They don't want us anymore. So we're on Medicare and we're retired. That's it. We have TRICARE, but TRICARE is a military equivalent for insurance. So they pay pretty much for everything, but it's just a pain in the butt to not being able to just go to one place and get it all done. All right, so enough of that. Too much personal info. Let's see if we have any else here who wants to talk. Again, you can keep me as long as you wish. I don't care. Ask questions. This is your chance to discuss anything pertaining to printing, issues, problems. I assume if you don't, then everything's going perfect. You're absolutely satisfied with your results. Yeah. Does this live stream count? Yes, yes, it does. Especially after the so 22 of you. That's why you saw such a spike during each Sunday. So those of you who are watching now, who have not left, those hours count. So we got almost 3 hours now. So that would be that 22 times 3. That would be 66 watch hours. And that will boost that amount. If you decide to go back and review something I did and you watch it for a certain period, it doesn't count for the whole thing. It only what you actually watch. So if you want to rewatch when I unveiled or chopped that that uh, original 12 by 12 right here, that'll whatever amount of minutes you watch, that's going to be added to that as well. We just need to reach that standard. As you notice, down in the bottom of the chat, there's no super chat anymore, so you cannot do that any longer. But you can, if you choose to donate via PayPal, you can do so. I will show you that in a second here. And again, it could be $2, $3, whatever you wish. It all helps. Again, if I want to buy some more of that acrylic paper, I have to buy it myself. And I'm buying it just to display it and do experiments for you guys. If I got analyzed by some business guru, they would say I'm nuts for doing that. So let me go ahead and find my PayPal. This is a donation link that YouTube sort of created for me. So it's just https:// twice and then www.paypal and then .me/jtoolman, just like you see it there. Boom. Sorry, now. And they don't take 45%, okay, like YouTube does. So that's why I'm not that worried about getting the PayPal back. I'm not the PayPal, the Super Chat back, because they took nearly half of it. The same thing with monetization, they take 45%. But at least if you generate a couple $100 every month, you use that money to buy supplies. So every weekend is something new. I'm testing a different paper, showing you guys, hey, you interested in this new paper? Let me show you how this looks on the Pro 1000 or the 8550. All right? That's what you guys want to see. So you see it, I say, wow, or and you don't spend the money. You don't have to waste the money. I did it, and I did it to show everyone. That's how I did. That's what I did with Precision Colors. For how long? I don't know, 15 years. That's how I did it with Precision Colors. I tested everything he sent me and kept it between him and I. And once we arrived at a satisfactory situation, he sent the formulation to the lab and a new inkset was put out for sale. Yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more to that. I can show you demographically who's watching, what countries, what age group. Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know you had to. Well, I guess Google knows everything about you anyway, so that's how they do it. So thank you. Have you stopped using PCSE inks in your Canon Pro 1000? No, no, I'm still using it. Um, remember, the inkset included three OEM. So that was red, blue, and chroma optimizer. I'm still using the same inkset that they are selling to you. Now you could buy, I think it's 82 ml per load, even today, from the new Chicago area PC. But it's unnecessary. So what I'm running now is basically the same inkset that they are selling. If you just buy the standard inkset. In fact, I think one or two of the colors are no longer uh, OEM. Let me look and see. So I think they found, and the idea is you find equivalents that match OEM in output accuracy. So before, he tried everything under the sun, and he could not find a red, nor could he find a blue, nor could he find a chroma optimizer that was equivalent to OEM. They just could not locate it. So now, let's see. Let me pop this over here. Okay, so the current set that you buy, say you buy the complete set. This is third party. Okay, cyan, magenta, third party, photo black, third party, which is PC SE, photo cyan, photo magenta, gray, photo gray, matte black, chroma optimizer. Now they found they used to have to, you have to use OEM, and I'm using still OEM. Red, you used to have to use OEM. Now they have a third party and a blue. My God, what happened? Wait a minute. No, OEM red is still OEM. So that's the only one. Yellow used to be OEM. Wow. So there. So let me just say I'm using technically a slightly better mixture because I'm using OEM yellow, OEM blue, OEM red, and OEM chroma optimizer as they originally were selling to you. So now you can just buy. Yeah, see, OEM red costs you now $44.90, $25 per load. And that's because what's available right now, anyone else selling inks for the Pro 1000, they're selling the regular, inferior, I should say, in a way, because it does not produce that red, real red, true red of the strawberries. When you print that standard image, it just cannot handle it. Just like the Pro 100 original inks, they couldn't handle that red. It would just miss it completely. And that's why they created the Pro 200 with better red renditions in other areas. So 44.25, good Lord, for 82 ml of ink. That goes to show you. So that's why if you can go, gosh, if there is absolutely no difference between OEM yellow and OEM and Precision Colors signature edition yellow and blue, and the chroma optimizer is as good as OEM, then you can print super cheap on the Pro 1000 just simply using this particular inkset. I am using a better inkset because I'm using better in what way? Maybe possibly longevity, because I think they claim that the output is the same for the blue and the yellow, and only the red has to maintain or remain as OEM. See what I mean? So before it would have been 44, 44, and 44. Actually, it used to be 33. So I think prices have gone up. The source for OEM cartridges probably went up. OEM large format cartridges, he has to extract that ink from those cartridges and then sell it to you. So I think that's the case. And of course, you can buy solid OEM load. Wow, 44.90, 44.25. Let's see. Let's see what that comes out to. That sounds scary. 44. Let me put that. Okay, you got it over there. 44.25. Yeah, times 12. Drum roll. Holy mackerel. Okay, I could buy OEM cartridges probably on eBay and come out a lot cheaper than that. But if I buy the 700 ml cartridges for like 150, I could do each refill for about $12 each. So actually even less than that using OEM. But again, there's no reason to do that. This ink set right here, we refer to it as seamless transition. You will not see a difference as this ink that you load on your cartridges, it's not going to make it to the printhead immediately. It's going to take quite a while. And you will not see the difference. You will not go like, oh my God, what did I do? Because by that time, it's too late. By that time, it's just simply too late. And you got to start all over again. You would have to buy a complete $700 inks, set of cartridges, maybe less. Get it on eBay. Yeah. In fact, I'm curious now. What does eBay have that we can save money on when it comes to Pro 1000? Electronics, eBay. Let me pop that over there. Let's have a look-see. So Pro 1000. So we're going to call it Canon. Make sure that we get Pixma Pro 1000 OEM cartridges. Okay, that's not what we want. So what is the code for this? So these are PFI 1000. PFI 1000. Let's see if anyone is selling these. Okay, here we go. 12. Are these for real? Replacement for Canon image program. This might not be real. This might be, yeah, suitable. No. Nope. No can do. Okay, here we go. Instead of 12 for 600. That's third party. That's third party. Okay, here we go. New seal, 5 of them. But that's, yeah, that's it. PFI 1000. There you go. See what I mean? You can search, and you will find these deals. $199.50 for 5 cartridges. So that would be 200 divided by 5. $40 each. That's not too bad. No. Is it? Yeah. Anyway, A lot better than $60 each. Even the third party. And this is because it's including, okay, is this the real deal or not? No, I don't think that's the real deal. Remanufactured, yeah. You got to be careful, okay, but you will find relatively good. Now let's look at, so let's do 1700. Original, OEM. So you will find all the fakes. And then here is, let me write down 700 ml. Actually, no, let's do Canon Pro 100. So that's going to use the pre-1100 ink, the one that the Pro 1000 is made for. And yeah, the search really does not work very well. So it should only allow this to be found. Yeah, that's not what we want. Here we go. So genuine, that's what it sells for, folks. $300. That is actually retail price. That is not a deal. That is retail. So blue ink, $225. That's where my provider was selling for. Of $225 with shipping. Genuine, $225 again. 110. This is 1100. 160 ml only. So that would be 2 refills. Oh, that's not that good. That's $55 per refill. No way. So again, it takes a lot of patience and search for the right cartridge to buy and get a deal from. This is basically refilled cartridges, and they do it right through that same port. This is original, compatible. Yeah, that's too much. That's crazy. That is insane. So anyway, I recommend that you're using a Pro 1000. Just stick with this with the standard ink set that Precision Colors is now have on sale. Okay, stick with that one. The results are great. If you want to experiment, you can use 1100 profiles. There's a trick to that. You download the driver, begin to install it, and when it tells you to plug in your Pro 1000, Pro 1100, stop and locate where the temporary file is. And in there, you will find the 1100 profiles. I actually have them available. And I think I did it up on my Facebook group. Let me make sure. You can download those. And if I haven't done that, I will go ahead and do that. So let me go to files. So again, here is my Facebook group. And we'll go to here, more files. And we'll look and see. Let me write down 1100. I don't know whether I did or not. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not a search. My friend has been doing a lot of Argyle profiles. These are all downloadable. You can download them from here. Oh, everything is free. Yeah, I don't know whether I uploaded those or not. If I haven't done it, oh, I have manuals here. So you can really learn all sorts of secrets from them. As you can see, there's a ton. All my test images, all in one package or separate ones. Yeah, I don't think I did. I will do that, and I will make those available. It's really fun to experiment, though. Experiment with the 1100 profiles. You just got to use Canon papers. That's the only catch. You have to stick with Canon papers because that's where those, what those profiles were made for by Canon for the 1100. So say you want to print on Pro Luster, but you want to use the 1100 profile, sort of simulate what that image would look like. You can do both. I've done a demonstration of both. Pro 1000 profile, Pro 1100 profile, same image, same paper. And you see some differences. You do actually see improvements. So, yeah, it's not going to be the same level of improvement that it is claimed that the 1100 can bring you. But at least you can increase the quality of what your Pro 1000 can max out. You can go beyond that by simply using the $1100 profile, matching profile. Let's see. So no, I have not stopped using the Pro 1000. That would only happen if I went insane all of a sudden. The Canon Pro 200, 300, and Epson 700, 900 was all released in 2020. Canon replaced the entire line. Epson hasn't. Yeah. You know, what's Epson going to do? See, at this point, there's no way we can use third-party products. Even if I was buying, because those larger printers, there are some large Epson printers that none of us are really that familiar with because we can't refill them, that use large capacity cartridges. Even if I wanted to buy those cartridges and extract the ink, I dismantle the cartridge, take the ink back out, cut the tip of it and pour it on a bottle. I have OEM bulk ink then, even if I wanted to do that. But Epson, I'm still using your ink. Please let me know. They don't want you to do that. So it's really, unless you're a professional and you're selling your work and you're just an anti-refiller guy, really there's no future as far as I see in our little world for anything new from Epson. At least Canon has left it open for us to continue refilling. Yes, we have to disable the chips. And yeah, we'll let you refill our cartridges. You can even refill those big ones yourself. Or just drill 2 holes. Gosh, it's so simple. It's just incredible. So simple. Disable the chips. You got 700 ml of weight. Of ink to use. I can weigh that brand new one, see how much it weighs, and I have some empty ones. I can weigh them and see the difference. It should be 700 grams difference. So I just take out once in a while, weigh them. Okay, that one lost 100 grams. I still have 600 ml of ink or 600 grams of ink left. So yeah, Canon has left it open for you. You can do that. You can even update your firmware without any fears. It improved the hell of the situation with the Pro 1000. It doesn't waste a ton of ink anymore doing preprint, God knows what, you see. Yeah. So the future, as far as Epson, is only for the professional side of things. And of course, push those eco tanks. I want to see an eco tank that is 17-inch. I would go insane if that ever comes out. They would not be able to keep up with the sales. Seriously. Imagine EcoTank 17-inch would roll. Yeah. It's that big a deal. So anyway, okay. I hear my wife doing something in the kitchen. So we're going to call this puppy done, and hope that you guys have a wonderful week. I'll keep an eye every day for the new videos uploaded. I set it to 12, 2, 4, 6, and 8 every single day. And then on Saturday, one at 12 noon. That's a live stream, one of the older live streams that I was able to save. I'm so glad that I was able to do that, by the way. So, and from now on, I'm downloading. Once this is done and it becomes a video, I will download it and save it into one of my backup drives. That way, if I ever have this again, I don't know if I would continue doing this, but if I ever did, I still have those videos available. So that'll be my practice from now on. All right. So thank you again, and we will see you next week. We're going to play my video of the AI images that I just created recently. Hope you enjoy it. We'll see you. Bye-bye. Next week. Gone. That was cryptic. Okay. And ready, set, go. Volume.